All right, so you're here today. You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything. Okay, it was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So
We have an update tonight on those mysterious drones seen flying across the region over the past few days. A New Jersey state senator is now calling for a limited state of emergency.
SUV-sized drones in New Jersey.
Because quite frankly, we don't really have control of our U.S. airspace. We don't have awareness of what are in our skies.
How is it possible that everyone from the New Jersey governor to the FBI have no idea what these are?
Well, I saw a drone. If it was a drone, who knows what it was, but it was not the drone you see people fly. There's the picture. It was the size of a school bus, literally the size of my two-car garage. Well, I have a one-car garage, the size of a two-car garage. As ridiculous as everything sounds, I do have a teeny bit of credibility. I'm the president of the Montclair Bird Club. I'm used to looking at things in the sky. I've been a bird watcher since 4th grade. I spend my weekends at the Montclair Hawk Watch. I look at things in the sky. I know that's one of the things I'm good at.
Hello pals, welcome back to the channel. So if you've not seen anything to do with this drone phenomena and all the hubbub, then you can catch up really quickly with this video here. Now, it's been a week since that video came out and a lot's gone on, so I thought we'd better do a catch up. And I want to today talk about a slightly different aspect of this from last week. But first, here's a little clip catching you up on what's gone on.
That is not an airplane.
It's the latest in a string of mysterious drone sightings posted on social media that has residents worried. And this morning, the FBI is investigating.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
The drones, which appear to have been much larger than recreational drones, have been spotted all over New Jersey over the past weeks.
It looks like a spaceship.
From near Bedminster, the location of President Trump's golf course, to Monmouth County, where the sheriff's office has made this map of reported sightings.
Characteristic triangle lights underneath.
To Morris County, where 21 mayors signed a letter voicing their concerns to New Jersey's Governor Murphy.
Is we don't see any concern for public safety. Having said that, it's really frustrating that we don't have more answers as to where they're coming from.
And the sightings seem to be spreading.
This is the 3rd time that it's come around.
With large drones reportedly in the sky around Philadelphia.
Look at it.
The mysterious flying objects preventing a medical helicopter from landing to pick up a car crash victim and prompting the FAA to issue flight restrictions prohibiting drone flights over Picatinny Arsenal Military Base and Trump National Golf Club Bedminster.
Now there's also been a congressional hearing where we heard from the FBI and local police enforcement, where we basically heard 2 hours of people saying that they don't have the resources, the training or the guidelines to deal with a situation like this, and they were all waiting for somebody else to tell them what to do and how to proceed. Another major feature of it was just asking for funding. Here's a quick clip from that event.
Security. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights.
We've also seen a statement from the FAA basically saying, yes, they care about it and they look into everything and only investigate when it's appropriate. Not really very reassuring to the public. But it's not just the public that are getting frustrated. This was the reaction of one of the congressmen that appeared in the hearing after emerging from the session.
All right, so you're here today. You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything. Okay, it was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think
Florham Park's police chief sent a message to residents saying drones have been spotted above critical infrastructure, such as water, reservoirs, electric transmission lines, rail stations, police departments, and military installations. He added that their presence appears nefarious in nature.
So there seems to be a great split in opinion between the little information that the government have told the public and the public's growing frustration, echoed by, frankly, everybody from the FBI down, the local police enforcement. Nobody has been coached on what to do, how to proceed, or how seriously to take it. Here is one of the local mayors with his account.
Activity. Mayor, thank you, first of all, for your time. You've seen these drones. Before we talk about the theories on the source of them, kind of just describe what you've experienced.
Been hearing about them, but last Tuesday night, a resident in town, one of my neighbors on my block, said that there were 8 overhead over our elementary school and municipal complex, which are, on the same block. So I got in my car and I rode around here, and by the time I got around here, which is only about a half-mile ride, the drones had all moved east over the town of Dover, New Jersey, kind of in between us. There's a large county park, and they were everywhere. I have a video of, it was 4 with a kind of a stationary drone. What it appeared to us was, there was 1 drone that was just stationary and 4 were going back and forth in a scanning pattern. I'm a little older, so I would, look like Pong from back in the day, right? Back, forth. And they went over the town of Dover. I went down into Dover to see a better look, get some more pictures, and they moved east again. And that was my own personal observation. I have residents reporting, last night some residents reported that there were, over various times of the evening, they were watching, and there were 12 over our lake. And they can't get pictures because they come out really grainy, and they're still like little dots on cell phones. I'm hoping some folks with some really good equipment can get out there. I know there's a fellow in town who has infrared night equipment who's going out tonight looking.
New video tonight of yet another drone sighting in New Jersey. This one was seen over Ridgewood in Bergen County around 9 tonight. At least 4 New Jersey counties have now reported these mysterious devices in recent weeks. Authorities in Morris, Somerset, and Warren all announced investigations along with the FBI.
They seemed pretty large. Any chance they could be planes?
Absolutely not. Definitely not planes. And there were too many of them. There's no way planes could fly that close together.
Atkins shared her video on X, and Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis reposted, demanding answers from the NYPD, FBI, and Department of Homeland Security. Over the weekend, drones were also spotted over Staten Island. And we've been telling you about numerous sightings over New Jersey, especially in Morris County. On Monday, Pix 11 News asked Governor Phil Murphy for answers about the drones.
We don't see any concern for public safety. That's number 1. Number 2, having said that, it's really frustrating that we don't have more answers as to where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing.
Last week, the FBI's Newark field office issued this statement to Pix 11 News. We understand the concern, and we are doing all we can to figure out what's going on.
So you're probably wondering why nothing's been shot down yet. Well, that's because of an obscure law from the 1800s known as the, and I'd better read this out, Posse Comitatus Act, which prevents the military from doing anything to attack civilian property or infrastructure or anything like that. It's sort of a law that was built up after a civil war. So that means that apparently people like the DOD and whatnot can't spy over American soil, and they certainly can't use any of the countermeasures that might harm a civilian. That's the given reason anyway. So I want to just take a second to explore why that could be a problem. So the next couple of videos are drones or radio control planes, whatever you want to call them, unmanned aerial systems, which are completely 3D printed. So even if you do shoot one down, were this to be a foreign power or whatever, you might not learn anything from the wreckage of the craft itself.
Let's hope for a good one here, guys. Ready? Oh my God. Oh my God, first throw. Oh my God.
The FBI joined the investigation into mysterious nightly drone sightings in New Jersey. Authorities say they are larger than typical drones a hobbyist might fly.
So the general line being that there's nothing to worry about and they haven't really got the training, resources or equipment to study it any further. But when you look at this statement by a former Air Force official, he talks about how important the Air Force in particular take invasions of airspace and the study of unmanned aerial systems. So again, it's another great difference between what we've been told at the local government level and in the military side of things. So with the general argument being that after America's borders, the local law enforcement and everything is powerless and isn't able to study further. Now, the CIA has the opposite set of rules, where they're not supposed to surveil within American borders, but outside is all fair game. So you would imagine that something over the East Coast would be very, very much of interest to the CIA, Department of Defense, Office of Geospatial Intelligence, I don't know, all of these things. And to think that we don't have tech or sensors in the water is frankly ridiculous. Have a look, we've got things like this. Northrop Grumman's new toy, the Manta Ray, developed alongside DARPA for use by the US Navy. But it's not just in the water, they also have the most sensor-dense capabilities of any nation on the planet in space from their satellite network. Google Earth used to be the CIA's global imaging service and was now so outdated that they sold it to Google. So you can only imagine the resolution and clarity that they would be able to surveil with now. Here's a little demonstration of how they can use domestic satellites for tactical data.
And Willie Nelson's team was able to use commercial satellites to take images of the battlefield, bring those images down to Earth, process them with artificial intelligence to turn them into targeting data, and then use satellites to transport that targeting data hundreds of miles to the virtual battlefield where they were used to fire on perceived threats.
Through declassified documents, some knowledge of orbital mechanics and electrical engineering, and especially last year's Pentagon leaks, we can gain some insight into just what they're capable of. And it's pretty incredible. Some of the leaked documents indicate the ability to detect missile launches and explosions, intercept communications from nearly anywhere on Earth, and even identify the location of virtually every squad or soldier with a radio.
So there's certainly the ability by some arm of the US government to know exactly where these things are coming from. And that's the biggest question which is posed at the moment. So most commercial drones will only have a battery life of, say, 30 to 40 minutes. Commercial drones or military, it's a couple of hours. But in the case in particular of the sheriff that said he'd counted 60 of them arriving at once, if you imagine they're on a boat out to sea being fired off a short ramp, and you can launch one every 20 seconds, let's say you've got them all stacked up ready to go, 20 seconds per launch, that's still 12 minutes to get those 60 drones in the air ready to move inland, by which time, if they had a 40-minute battery, then the first one that you sent out has lost 25% of its charge. So there's huge constraints. Lou Elizondo pointed out that the most cutting-edge military drone has a signal range of about 35 kilometers, and that most consumer ones require line of sight. The more advanced versions of that can be pre-programmed with a flight path, and some of them can scan the landscape and use the topography to navigate at low altitude and avoid obstacles and things like that. But all of this, as we've said with the Chinese spy balloons, they'd said that the radar was calibrated to sort of eliminate things like balloons so as to focus better on aircraft traffic. Well, surely then a radar can be calibrated just to look for drones or high-frequency radio signals or something like that. So this next clip highlights a technology suite headed up by Airbus and used by the US Navy, which coordinates sensor data from other drones, both underwater and aerial drones, to be passed to units like the US Coast Guard or the Navy to be able to detect and destroy any submarines. So as the senator was saying about there being an Iranian mothership deploying drones off the East Coast, if that were the case, they would know exactly what it was, how long it had been there. So the fact that this thing has been going on for 16 days without end kind of negates this theory. As you can see from this technology, there's absolutely no escape, whether you're under the sea or in low atmosphere or anything like that. The main thing worth taking notice of, though, is how this one system highlights the capability of the US Navy and intelligence services to triangulate different sensory apparatus, whether it be in the sky with NORAD and the Air Force's air defenses, or in the sea with the Navy and Department of Defense, CIA, who knows. But there's a huge network of sensory information out there which somebody has access to. Just another example there of how potent their anti-naval center technology would be. And don't forget, you've got NORAD scanning the airways, so it would be impossible for a vessel or plane or anything like that to approach within a reasonable linger distance and do it 16 days in a row, or however many it's been, without being literally on the radar of one of the intelligence agencies. The question, though, is why are they being so hesitant with the public? And it's pretty obvious. If it's so difficult to get any information about them, about an obvious and visual and repetitive threat like drones, there's no chance of them finding out anything about actual UAP or historical cases. But hopefully this is highlighting the hypocrisy that the UFO field has dealt with for so long.
These are apparently very, as I understand it, very sophisticated. The minute you get eyes on them, they go dark. And, you know, we're obviously most concerned about sensitive targets and sensitive critical infrastructure.
So, to view this whole news story through the lens of UAP is very interesting and very productive, and it really lets you see the active situation of a government trying to deal with a UAP in its airspace and how the public's expectations and opinions are being actively managed. So, for now, there's some huge questions to answer. There's certainly the technology to answer those questions, but by learning about one, will we end up learning more about UAP? Well, for now, we can only hope. And as more stories come out, then I'll let you know. But thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.
This morning, growing concern over hundreds of these mysterious drone sightings in the Northeast.
That is not an airplane.
Videos on social media showing drones described as much larger and faster than those typically used by hobbyists, hovering over parts of New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania in recent days. Some spotted over a U.S. military facility, over reservoirs, and over President-elect Trump's golf club and summer home. The FBI is investigating, but so far, no answers.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.